Sweat Equity Podcast and Streaming Show, the #1 comedy business podcast in the world.
We'll do it live.
That's no.
I just mashed a button.
That's no boat horn for celebration. Yeah, we're like rappers up in here. Pragmatic entrepreneurial advice with real raw dog talk. We're 2020's best small medium enterprise business advisory podcast in the United States, thanks to Lux Excellence Awards.
What you want?
We already won 2021's Best Podcast and Streaming Entertainment Studio Eastern United States, thanks to Media Innovator Awards.
I know, and yet our guest is complaining about the studio as we sit here.
Corporate Vision Magazine. You know the magazine. They handed out those Media Innovator Awards.
You get Highlights magazine as a kid, and Corporate Innovator.
Yeah, we got
So excited.
Kimberly Lackey, Impact Coaching, impactcoaching.com. Corporate wellness expert as our in-studio guest. Listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Amazon Podcasts, anywhere where podcasts are listened to. This episode is sponsored by Grasshopper. Try grasshopper.com/sweat. Gets you $75 off an annual plan. The entrepreneur's phone app. You can have a second line on your phone. You don't need to get two cell phones. Like a drug dealer, try grasshopper.com/sweat. Get you 75 bones off an annual plan. That is a tank of gas these days. That, $75, what can you do with that?
You got a big car, though.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to think the coast, man. It's more expensive over there.
Okay.
Try grasshopper.com/sweat. Get that phone number. Don't use Google Voice as your business hustle side piece number. Don't use your phone number. Use it. You can get a vanity number. You can get a 1-800 number. Try grasshopper.com/sweat. Let's get it started. Howdy toddy.
What about my sweat equity? Sweat equity. Sweat equity. My sweat equity. My sweat equity.
Sweat equity.
What about my sweat equity?
Kim, let them hear your voice, even though you're a frequent guest of the program.
Frequent guest, I love it. Hey guys, this
Part
is
of that is hearing her voice. Yeah.
Yeah.
hello.
Despite of that. You got any complaints, Kim? What do you got now?
Well, you already announced that I have complaints,
I
and
know.
I was doing. I like that you think that I have a complaint when I'm just asking, "Where's the sound guy?"
Like, yeah.
Can't help it if
What
that's
a passive
offends
aggressive
you.
fucking dick move. You know what you were doing.
There's no passive aggression in me.
No.
Just-
Not at all. No.
Zero.
That just the way you said that?
I'm pretty straightforward. I can't be around either one of you without doing a little ball busting, or
Well,
I'm
that's
not
fine.
going to be able to hang.
Hey,
Survive.
Kim, have you ever had to make an apology, like a really heartfelt one?
Yes.
Are you good at
100%.
it?
Well,
This wasn't on our docket of things to talk about.
Wow, look
Yeah.
at this gotcha
don't
question.
know.
You look like you're...
Do
Well-
we have the Lizzo apology?
we
Is it-
do.
Can we just play the audio of that?
Okay, you're
So-
going to have to give us some
I
background
just
on this.
want
'cause-
to answer.
So
Can I
Go,
answer?
ahead, go for it.
You said, "Am I good at it?" But I think the judger of a good apology is the person on the receiving end.
Okay.
So I might do the best I can, but there is the language of apology. Some people want you to admit what you did wrong, grovel, So I'm somebody that I'm cool to just accept an apology. But let's listen to Lizzo.
I took a little
and I'll
piece out of
continue.
a 12-minute Instagram live Lizzo did. If you don't know, she's that flautist. She's a musician, huge pop star.
She sings, "I do my hair."
Yeah,
toss, make my nails."
Perfect.
And so she
rendition.
used to get a lot of body shaming
Mhm.
back because she was a bigger gal and get all the trolls on in the comment section. Now she started losing weight, and people don't like that either. The fan base of bigger people that love her
Oh.
don't like that she's concerned about her health. And then I was like, this is how you apologize in this era, is this snippet from here where, it's kind of rambling, but this part's the best.
All right.
Anyway, I just want to express my gratitude for everyone who listened to the song, everyone who listened to the song, watched the video, period. Whether you liked it, whether you didn't like it, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for your stream. Thank you for your viewership. If you love it, thank you. If it's meh, thank you, because at least you gave it a chance. At least you listened to it. That means something to me.
Wait for it.
For the people who just always gonna have something negative to say about me that has nothing to do with music or the content of my character or me as an artist and just has everything to do with my body or whatever trope you think I fall into, suck my pussy from behind.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I love it.
Eric,
What?
I would just like to say thank you for providing me with good sound and adjusting the volume.
You're welcome.
And
to
you don't have to
hear
wait for
Lizzo
anything else.
Say that.
That
Yeah.
was- Yeah.
Just thank you. Thank you for being here. And that's all.
Are you doing a gratitude list or
I'm
something?
doing a gratitude list.
Okay.
I'm not going to.
You don't want to comment on this?
I kind of have a question about what makes
Suck
it.
my pussy from behind.
What makes it better from behind?
That's definitely going to be a
Why
drop.
is it
It's
better
more
from
difficult.
behind?
I don't know.
I'm keeping that one.
Yeah. I heard that and I was like, that's the best because so many people are doing these blanket apologies and they don't really mean anything. And she does a really heartfelt thing. And then she goes, hey, for the people that don't like it,
Suck my pussy from behind.
The whole time I was listening to that, I'm like, there's got to be a way
she's got to
for
pull
a
the
moment.
nose up on
Well,
this
I'm like,
eventually.
there's no way where you're playing that without
Without a
gotcha.
sucking of a pussy from behind.
well,
That's for sure.
I do like, I mean, we could go into a thing about, these blanket apologies don't mean anything. People that are apologizing for basically nothing. She's trying to get better, like be healthier.
Not just that. I mean, we
that's-
cannot make it. It's just a losing battle. No matter if you're Lizzo or whoever, you can't make everybody happy.
Right. And so it's one of those things where I think that is how you should do it because basically everybody who's giving her shit is not going to
Actually,
do it anymore.
yeah. And if you're not actually pissing some people off, you're not really doing life correctly.
You won't be able to apologize to everybody in one blanket 12-minute video.
12 minutes is a long time. I feel like you should be able to apologize to everybody.
Well, it's clear.
I mean, well, how much have you done?
If you go look at the 12-minute video, I mean, it's clear it's stream of consciousness kind of thing. But she felt like she's getting harassed so much that I thought it's interesting.
Oh, this is making me think of something. I pretty much, first of all, I don't really speak in superlatives, but I can honestly say I basically never get in conversations on social media, like these political arguments and conversations. And twice in the last couple of days, I have. And it is a losing battle. Like you can't, because people being on social media, like it gives people wings. They are so much more brave and they say things that are so like in their, it's just ridiculous.
They're not, the conversation isn't happening because they're wanting to be swayed in any way or have any sort of, open mind. They're having this conversation to argue with you. Like they want to like dig their heels in, be more on their own tip. And then, when you make them feel stupid, they just peace out.
Well, I pieced out. This guy didn't make me feel stupid. I just was like, I am not, this is a waste. I could still be there going back and forth. Like you can tell some people are not going to
Is this
wrap
someone
it
you
up.
knew? Or is
No,
this
it's not actually someone I knew. It was somebody was posting something about Afghanistan.
Uh-huh.
And someone commented that
A lot of people have hot takes on that.
I was
Not a lot of
reading it
info.
and I was reading it and the only thing someone commented about how the president has nothing to do with the military, and I just was like, the dude is the commander in chief.
Right.
He ought to, but all I said was that was my answer. That he is the commander in chief. Period. That's what I said. What I mean is, in addition, yes, politics unfortunately get involved and included, which is
That's
wrong.
what you get for doing a reasonable
So
comment
he
back.
answers back this whole, like, oh yeah, so like he doesn't have better things to do with his time than micromanage generals. I'm like, I stopped, but I had to like walk away and turn my phone off for a minute. So it's like,
Yeah.
people, it gives people wings. It's like the Red Bull of
It's the
of
anonymity.
arguments.
I
You
mean-
look like Rocco.
What?
Or Rocco
I-
looks like you, I guess.
Rocco's my son.
Yeah.
Not the porn star guy. Just talking about-
Okay,
yeah.
poor Rocco. Why did you do
the
that
only
to him?
famous
Now I'm not
one.
going to be able to look at him.
Well, what
without-
do you? Why do you even know what I'm talking about? You should be like, what are you talking about, porn
Right.
star?
I
Uh-huh.
don't know what porn
Yeah.
star it is. I don't.
Good job. Backtracking.
I definitely don't.
Yeah.
You just said it's a
What are you
porn
doing
star.
without me telling you how to live your life these days? I mean,
Oh.
obviously, you need me around to, tell you what to say.
I'm surprised you're letting me drink on this show today.
What do you mean? You actually, you're saying
Because
it like
usually
we
the
keep you in a
sound
dungeon.
guy-
Oh, here we
Yeah,
go.
'cause the
Look.
sound guy gets on me about it.
You can
Look.
drink whatever you want.
I just want to repeat that this is such a great reunion.
Yeah.
Such a great reunion.
Yeah, if anybody's
Thanks, guys.
listening and wondering why the conversation's so darty and weird already, go back and listen to the previous episodes.
We've done an episode on you guys were like my dating coaches.
Yeah.
How'd
We've
that
all
work
worked together. That
Mm.
didn't.
Well,
I mean,
out? Our advice didn't work? Huh. Weird.
Actually, it might
You're
have.
pretty
but
good with it.
The one
Um,
time I didn't listen to you, and then
Oh, okay. I don't know exactly what you're
Then you
talking
just-
about, but I feel like you're
well,
not
then I
going to
just
elaborate.
end up, and then I'm in the Keys, and then
Oh,
I'm
right,
driving
right,
back
right.
for 8 hours, and
I mean, geez, now.
I should have just turned your podcast on. Why didn't I just call you guys?
you
on
know
that
we're
ride
recording,
back?
right?
This is
You're throwing a lot
I'm
of
pretty
inside
sure
baseball.
the person that you're referring to is a
Oh, he might be
fan.
your biggest fan.
I know.
Show notes.
That's fine. What up, dude? You want
It's
so
all good.
you you throw us some topics ahead of time. I don't. A lot of them are pretty. They're all under kind of a similar umbrella, I'd say, to me. But working from home during COVID, I was trying to think about it with this resurgence of people, getting COVID that were unvaccinated. Seems like. I'm just in that mode of like, God, I don't want us to go back to like a shutdown situation, which I don't think will happen. But in the workplace, it's definitely weird.
Yeah, and let's reference we're all sitting here in Florida, where Florida has been we're not as shut down as some other places are. I mean,
We're the Wild West.
depending
It's
on where
like,
you are in the
Ain't
country.
no
I mean,
rules.
we've been able to, a lot of people, and when we all worked together, I mean, we all went into the office and kind of had more of a hybrid situation. We had a
Mhm.
big office.
Mm-hmm.
We've all sort of transitioned out of that now, but I
That's
mean,
one way to put it.
Yeah.
Transitioned out. Yeah.
that is right.
So keep going.
Well,
Sorry.
I just saying that we all, because we're here in Florida, we have a little bit more leniency. Like you're going into the office all the time. I actually am working at home, and I just did one of the Oxford Exchange for anybody here that is in Tampa, the Commerce Club,
There's
to get
people outside
myself.
the area. It's a
Yeah.
fancy. It's the most Instagram spot I think in Florida, but
It
is
is?
something like that.
Hmm.
But it's like a.
It's a
the-
co-working space.
Well, there's the Commerce Club that is a co-working space. To explain what the whole thing is, it's a fancy Cracker Barrel. There's a restaurant. There's a gift shop.
You're right.
There's
That's what it is.
a high-end gift
Yeah.
shop right outside. It's kind of like a
Warby Parker.
Warby Parker, our sponsor.
Offer
Warby,
code sweat.
/sweat. Go to warbyparkertrial.com/sweat. Get
Thank you.
5 free pairs to
There
try
you
on. That Warby Parker has their station in there. If anybody knows that brand, they're very selective where they go. It's a high end, it's got a lot of things going on under one roof. But the part you were in is the co-working space where, those have to be going up like crazy.
Yeah, and I looked around for one that would suit me, and I mean, really, it's a no-brainer because I have to get out of the house sometime, or I'm just it's not good for my mental health. And I think that when you're an entrepreneur, working from home all the time, depending on your situation, there's definitely a lot of benefits to being around people.
Yeah. I think it depends what kind of person you are. I get energy off of people doing stuff, even if I don't talk to them. Like if there's just stuff going on, I like being around like that.
Energy vampire.
Yeah, a little bit. It's one of those things where I think I've brought it up a bunch, but Sarah Silverman will go write jokes in the hotel lobby because she just likes being around all that kind of all those people doing things. It makes you feel like kind of a sack if you're just there. And
well, it's people watching too. You got different people coming through. Make up a story about that person that's coming
got a whole
through.
Special about hotels.
What's the deal with these hotel lobbies, guys?
Man, bellhops, they're crazy, huh? It's but I think it just depends. I think all three of us kind of like that. Things going on. But I don't necessarily want to talk to anybody.
Well, for me, it depends. Like if I'm writing, if I have to write something or focus, I can't have any distraction. Like you would see me lock myself in my office and you'd come try to rescue me thinking I needed to get out of there. But
yeah.
I can't have, but if I'm just sitting on the computer doing stuff, answering emails, I want to be around people, or just 24 hours a day. I can't just sit by myself. So I think that there's a lot of great solutions out there.
I was just trying to get you to get your steps in to go for a walk outside because it was a dungeon of an office with very little light. So I made myself walk laps on the reg when I'm in the office just because.
And your coworkers love you for it.
They think I'm a fruit ball, but it's fine.
Fruit ball, huh?
Yeah.
Not a cake?
Not a cake?
I just say I'm very granola, but I can't. I physically just hate. I can't sit at a desk that long. I got to get up and move around every now and again.
Well, I mean,
so that's most people, I think.
Yeah.
So
but you'd be surprised. A lot of people just will sit there all day without, and then the whole day goes by, and maybe less productive because they didn't. I've been trying to do the 50-minute spurt where you work for 50 minutes of the hour, and then the last 10 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever, kind of. I'll go for a walk or just like
free time,
stretch a little bit.
There are a lot of apps, and even just like without having an app that you can put, a timer on your phone and set it to make you get up, especially an Apple Watch that's just going to vibrate and get you up. I don't need something like that because
it's been a while since the dirty jokes happened, so we have to have a quota.
Okay. Okay.
Whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what I was going to say is I have a healthy dose of ADD that that just allows me to not need to set my watch because I'll just get up.
Right. Yeah, it's we were talking about this on the phone yesterday. I think you can use your ADD or ADHD. Everybody's got some of that, I guess, nowadays. I think if you can figure out how to hone it and use it a little bit like judo, where you use the person's energy back at them, kind of thing.
You're thinking of Aikido.
Yeah, but let's talk about that.
I'm thinking of judo because Aikido is like what Steven Seagal does, and I did in 7th grade, and it is not that.
No, I
thought that was the whole thing.
But you don't strike.
Nobody gives a shit.
You just put them to the ground. You don't really do anything.
Right. I thought it was using their momentum against them. Whatever.
A little bit.
I believe you, I guess.
You have to be in like a perfect, like, I have to punch you perfectly like this for you to grab my elbow and push it down kind of thing.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good example.
Maybe if you'd work harder.
So
anyways, what were we talking about? Karate?
Yeah.
Okay. So
MMA?
But there's a spectrum of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Even if whatever personality disorder, an illness, etc.
Yeah.
There's a spectrum. So people's ADD can differ.
Yeah.
And then on top of their own personality traits, what job they have, etc. All three of us here are aware that we have ADD. That said, there's a lot of people that I did actually get a later in life diagnosis for ADD.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more popular. You guys are both younger than me. It's more popular to get the diagnosis younger now.
Sure.
It's a cool thing to do.
But it depends on somebody's understanding of what that is. If somebody only thinks that ADD is getting distracted, that's not that's not just what it is. So I do think that there's a lot of people running around that, number one, aren't aware of it and don't know how to kind of hack it into their life. A really good friend of mine is a mental health counselor. She specializes in working with adults and teenagers that have autism. There's a large percent of people that are autistic that also have ADD.
Mm-hmm.
That said, she herself she's turned 43. She just now, because she studies autism, and as she's studying autism, learning about ADD, she just got an ADD diagnosis for herself.
Yeah.
And she's got 3 masters in psychology. So I mean, some people, and she calls me. She just started taking medication for her ADD, and she calls me all the time. And she's like,
oh yeah, she's all ladded up.
well,
Chat, man.
I know we talk about that.
I'm on Vyvanse.
I take like a
So what are you doing?
fraction.
How are you feeling? Let's start
This
business.
concertus is
Come on.
great.
But she talks about how like it's improved her anxiety, her self-esteem in just a couple weeks because you're like, oh, is this how neurotypical people function? Like you can manage your time better, or
Neurotypical.
neurotypical.
I like that. Sorry,
Neurotypical?
sorry.
I've never heard
ADD
that
kicked
either.
in. I know.
Neurotypical.
Oh, you're
are
being so
people-
neurotypical right now. It's a pain in the ass.
Someone with ADD is not neurotypical.
This show is mostly ADD.
I know.
now.
I mean, I'm
We are
stabbed
not
him pretty hard.
neurotypical. I kind of like not being neurotypical.
Well,
like
sure.
let's
Yeah.
live on the wild side.
Oh.
Well,
It seems so vanilla.
So in that
Neurotypical.
in that regard, that kind of working from home or work-life balance, how do you hone it? What do you, any pragmatic tips, anything? Because I'll tell you, like, I got back to every morning doing the to-do list. I get a piece of paper because I don't want to do it on a device or anything, and write out like 8 o'clock, 8:30, 9. And
Yeah.
I write the whole day out, and then have like a 15 minutes for every line, and then just do that, and it's helped me get back to being a lot more organized,
Yeah.
which helps me kind of focus where there's not a bunch of shit floating in the air like, oh, I got to get this thing done. I got to get this thing done while I'm trying to do something.
Yep. The blocking the time for me is super important, and I have to be kind of forgiving with myself on blocking my time, and if I don't get it all done, I can sometimes I think that I can get more done in an amount of time than I can, especially if I'm trying to do something creative.
Yep.
So like if I'm trying to write something, that can take more time, or
Painting.
painting, and just like releasing the perfectionism thing, making sure you have a deadline. But some people, if you can't just time block, there's so many different apps that
But
you
I
can
don't.
utilize.
My thing is, you don't need an app for this. It's like
just
you get back to basics.
block your time,
Right.
and I like to, if you can do this, have somebody that holds you accountable, and you're really great at that too, Law. I don't know about, but I mean, even just calling, checking
You
in.
don't know
Hey,
about what you point at me.
I
What
don't
you're
know.
talking about, I was accountable for you for months on end. It was exhausting.
Yeah, remember your lesbian phase?
Wow, that is really who's being passive aggressive.
That was just
now?
regular aggressive. I'm saying what I
Oh,
wanted
oh.
to say. It was passive
That's
aggressive.
true. That's not
If it was passive aggressive, I'd be like, yeah, well, somebody out there also made me keep
Yeah,
track of
well,
that.
what I'm
It's like,
saying
awesome.
is-
I'm saying it was you, lady.
What I'm saying is, Law will check in, like, hey, how are you doing on this goal? How's that going?
Yeah, if
It's
anybody talks to me
annoying.
about if anybody talks to me about what they want to do, it's one of those things where it's like that can just drift off into the ether, and it's like,
As an
It does.
entrepreneur,
It does feel like a responsibility.
Yeah.
If somebody tells me I want to do this,
Mhm.
yeah,
where it's like, all right, well, you're telling me that you want to do it, but you're not doing it, and for some reason,
Yeah.
you need somebody pushing you, or you need somebody like.
it's human nature to need to be held
Yeah.
accountable. So I think that the part about working from home that can be a challenge for people is if you don't see people, you're not used to holding yourself accountable, putting those types of hacks in where you're either asking somebody in your company. Again, there's a lot of entrepreneurs that work here. We all kind of have our own gigs too. So, telling people what you're wanting to do, asking them to hold you accountable.
So consulting a client right now, and it's one of those things where I basically explained this to him the same way. He's maxed out on time, and it was one of those things where I go, look, try this for a week, but here's the difference. You write out that list, and then you look at it at the end of the day and see, what did you actually get done, right? And what got in the way? You have to actually sit there and kind of analyze that for 5 minutes, really. And then, so it's like kind of tracking your time. And no one wants to do that. And I get it. No one wants to write a to-do list that has every 15 minutes broken out. But if you're stressed and you have all this anxiety that you can't get enough shit done during the day because of X, Y, and Z, well, do you really know it?
Right. Well, something I'll do.
It's in your head, but is it realized? Is there stats on
so
it?
like if you have your to-do list, something I like to do is right next to it, how long will this actually take?
Yeah.
Because I'll put stuff on my to-do list. It's like, oh, I'll put it off. And it's like, realistically,
right.
Took 10 minutes.
Yep.
I could have done this whole. I could have done it 5 times over.
And that's a really big. That right there is a big function of ADD and what can make. But I mean, again, like I think whether you have that or not, almost anyone can identify with this. But the concept of making a list and sometimes if it looks really long, whether it's put the dishes away and the sort of executive function thing, put the dishes away, make the bed, laundry, and I've got these 2 blogs to write, I've got this article due over here, and these 2 clients. So some of that gets mentally overwhelming. Putting times next to it helps you visualize like, oh, these things, I can knock these out real quick.
It's mentally overwhelming until you do it. And then it's not.
And it makes you feel better about yourself. And again, like sharing for everybody now, all 3 of us talking about our different hacks that we do.
Yeah.
Hopefully gives people permission to understand that, to kind of be gentle and kind with yourself. There's so many different changes and having to adjust on the fly. If you don't get it done, then just make an adjustment. Don't be scared to make an adjustment.
One thing Eric got me on was getting up earlier than everybody else.
Oh my God, Eric's so good at that one.
And the way you pitched it was no one steals your morning. And so if you're having trouble, like by the time you get to start working, try that out. Like get up at 4:30. What do you get? 4 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Get up early. It feels weird the first couple of days you do it, but like I think I got more done in like a 3-week span trying that out. And
it's a momentum builder.
So what I do now is if things are kind of going awry, I'll make myself have to get up early as almost like a punishment until I don't have to do it, until I'm kind of back on track.
I don't know if that's the right attitude.
Do you guys...
but you can go to sleep at drop of a hat at like 10. So my thing is like it's a little tougher for me to do it, but
do either of you know who Glennon Doyle Melton is?
Do we?
Do you really?
No,
that sounds like a poster when you walked in.
It sounded like you made it up as you were saying.
I know that guy.
The next part of the name.
It's a girl, but she's married to Abby Wambach,
okay.
And she wrote. She was
soccer player.
She had a blog. I'm sure she still has it, but it's called Momastery now. She has a podcast and 2 books. The latest one is called Untamed. Anyway, in her blog that she would write, and she was like an addict and all this stuff. Anyway, she said that she would get up at 4 a.m. in the morning and go hide in the closet because she has 3 kids. So she would hide in the closet, put herself in the closet with her computer, and just get out a blog every day. That was her blog.
You were going to say smoke crack.
Momastery. That was her blog, and because she said, nope, that was my time. Nobody could take it.
Yeah.
And now she's this super through just doing that authentically, giving herself that time, and now she's famous.
I mean, the whole point of 4:30 is that you don't have to climb into the closet.
Yeah.
This kid should be asleep. Like, why do you gotta climb in the closet?
What? Married. I guess she was married and just, I don't know.
It was like she trying to scare them.
Her husband was
I don't know.
Or wife.
I go in the closet at 4:30 and wait till 7 until the kids get up.
Yeah.
It's a really good prank.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I just think there's a lot going on these days. There's a lot of heaviness that's going on. So I think people should be kind with themselves and kind and understanding and give yourself the room to, make adjustments and mistakes and plan.
Well, yeah, one thing it did, the COVID era, the core, made it a lot of people, I think, internalize. Now, some people aren't handling it well. That's the kind of the stuff like your social media commenter and stuff like that. I think there's some people who project it out because they got nowhere to put it. But I do think a lot of people internalize, like, what do I really want to do? And so I feel like a lot of people now, as the job market's starting to ramp up, see, I dovetailed into one of the topics you had,
What?
that, people are starting to go, what do I really want to do with my life? Because, doing what I was doing, it just gave you time to kind of do that.
Yeah, and I mean like, what is my purpose is typically a really huge question that most people have, at least at some point in their life. But yeah, I mean, and you hear so many different areas, whether it's like the restaurant business. A good friend of mine just published a book about the restaurant business and how they're so short-staffed, and most industries are hiring, but then again,
Can't find anybody.
Yeah, but everything's remote, and it's also can be hard to stand out amongst, if your typical way of getting a job is showing up, delivering your resume, calling, speaking to somebody, and if everything's remote and there are these really, you live in Tampa, there are these great opportunities in Boston or New York, it's just hard to stand out in the crowd too. So it's just navigating a little bit of a different job market opportunities and kind of how to get a job.
I don't know. It's kind of a buyer's market if you're looking for work right now. I was trying to pull up a stat that I saw that unemployment claims is the lowest it's been before we started all the COVID stuff. So before March of 2020, the unemployment claims have gone all the way down, like to pre-COVID times.
Well, if you're in Florida, it's probably because it doesn't matter because you're not going to get it.
Well, no, I mean, this is the country, though.
Sure, but I'm just bitching.
Okay, but it's one of those things where employers can't find talent. Like they're having a tough time. It's one of those things where I talk to a lot of agency owners just to kind of check in a lot of the time.
But I'm not understanding what you're saying. You're saying there's low unemployment rate and
the lowest unemployment claims filed since before March of 2020. Which
you're saying employers have more. It's a harder scenario for them to find good.
Right.
To like lock down that good. Like if you don't have a job, it's a good time to find a good spot.
Yeah.
Finding good human capital, as the
sociopathic CEOs say. Right.
But they can't find good talent, and that's across the board in the service industry. That's white collar keyboard soft jobs. That's everything. I mean, trades already had that issue beforehand.
Yeah, and I wonder, do people not want to work because they are like making an adjustment with their life, or is it because they are collecting money?
Well, here's the other aspect to that. Depends on what state you're in. So if you're in Michigan, those are really good unemployment benefits. The other part is you can't get entry-level workers that are making more being unemployed and getting the benefits. You can tout how important it is to have a job and all that, but
it's a math problem.
If you're telling me I'm going to go do entry data input or whatever, or I could not.
Or I could wash cars on the down low.
Or watch Netflix and chill. Yeah.
Yeah, and right now, while I see people complaining about the fact that, this Delta variant has come out and they're cutting unemployment, this, that, and the other. Well, now places have they've put in, so many industries now have adjusted to being able to work from home, so that really shouldn't be an issue. Service industry and serving and stuff, but there's vaccine. And
well, here's the other part of that formula is the forgiveness of rents, where people didn't have to pay their mortgage or rent. That I think went up in August as well. So that kind of stopped for, I think, most people, whatever that forgiveness area was, where people weren't paying rent or didn't pay mortgage, where it was just kind of pushed off. I think that just stopped. And so that other shoe might drop in that direction where more people are going out to find work. Now, the remote thing, remote working, we're not that good at it, I don't think. On a whole, I don't think we're that good at it. Because we're not.
Say we. Who are you talking about? We.
Just in the workforce.
The world
in general. The United States.
How do you know?
Workforce. Because it's a process that's kind of hodgepodge together. So some people are good at it, no doubt. But I'm saying the systems are set up for remote. Everybody's trying to do it so quickly that it's just a clusterfuck.
Okay, well, so Kim and I were in a situation where we had the opportunity to let people work from home.
Yeah.
For you and I, it was not bad. Like, I feel like we had a pretty good squad.
Well, I mean, in the people that we would let work from home, they were answering phone calls that were all recorded, and you could track their time, so you could track their productivity.
Yes, y'all had those.
So that was, that didn't really matter. And while I had this Tampa team, I always had teams that were remote in Australia and Europe anyway. So I already had to track their progress, and so that was okay. So it definitely just depends on the industry, and there are a lot of different companies in the corporate wellness space right now that are putting out all kinds of trainings, and you can see that they're trying to capitalize on this work from home thing in training. And I have watched some of them and attended them, and none of them are. It's kind of, I haven't seen any that I think that are really great at addressing anything outside of the obvious, which is you have to put in trackable things that are trackable and traceable, so that you can track. People have to. If you're a salaried employee and you're not used to like logging in to work to be available, putting in a system like that where that people are available. And I guess Zoom calls and having metrics and things like that, that people are responsible for, because it is human nature to probably slack off where you can.
Well, look, I know I'm not great working from home. Like I like going somewhere to go, this is what I'm doing now. Like,
it depends on the job.
Hybrid. I like the
but
hybrid.
That's me. I know
Right.
more people would prefer working remotely. I don't mind it going into an office.
I think there are some jobs like customer service, inbound stuff, where they're not having to be proactive. There's no reason why you can't work from home. Like if you're just answering the phones.
If you're just answering,
it doesn't matter.
And I mean, where I think that can become a problem also is a brand new hire. If somebody's a new hire and you need to see what their work ethic is like, look, it's almost impossible. It would be a waste of my time in that role as a leader to listen to everybody's call. So you do need to have some sort of trust ahead of time. So hiring a new employee and just letting them work from home, maybe after onboarding, that's kind of hard.
Much.
Well, if you do that, you have to have a pretty rigorous, like trackable way of doing it,
and a great onboarding system to train them ahead of time, and a great way for them to be able to ask questions on the fly, or depending on the industry, like somebody that is, making sure that you vet them, that they are definitely qualified.
That's something. It's a daily. If you're trying to hire somebody off, raw and no background, you got to be daily on the phone. Video call too. It does matter for whatever reason.
Yeah, I don't like the video. I don't like the video calls where people don't show their camera.
Right. Turn that shit on. What are you doing?
What are you hiding?
My team, I would tell them, make sure that you're always ready to be on, that you're not you're not sitting there naked on the couch.
Yeah.
One of the things I heard Jordan Harbinger on his podcast during all of this, during the lockdown, was like, get dressed even if you're at home.
You have to. That's
like
a
get
mental
dressed like
health
you're going to work.
hack.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. And I have to say, like, you guys have it good with, Eric's hair is growing out. You do kind of have long hair, but my thing where I can get totally lazy at home is fixing my hair.
That's fine.
I don't really like doing it. It's not my fave. And
no one really cares in the workplace anyway. Honestly, if you
ponytail it.
If you wore it in a bun every day, no one. First off, what's anybody gonna say?
And the person that
Well,
does
you
say
two-
something is a fucking creep.
I think that you might be like, Kim. So
Okay,
you're
well,
gonna
if
brush
Law
your
and I
hair?
said something, that's
Yeah,
different.
But we're just
That's
fucking
just,
around.
you know,
we're just trying to.
That's
I mean,
us.
Kim,
You know,
nice-
that's our relationship.
Yeah.
Nice
That's
woman
different.
bun is what you'd say, and I'd be like, well, look,
What,
well,
like
look at
nice
your
grandma
man
bun, nice old lady bun, that sort of shit.
Yeah.
One time,
But
one time, Law told me we were leaving from work, and I had on.
mom
First
jeans.
of all, no, it wasn't mom jeans. It
Okay,
was
well,
like
that's
this,
a different story.
It
then.
was this pink dress, like muumuu dress, and
Oh,
Law
yeah.
was trying to tell me, like, look, you're working too hard. Please tell me you're going out. And I'm like, I think I could go out on this date tonight. And you were like, okay, that's great, good for you.
wearing
Please
that.
don't wear that.
Yeah, you look
did.
like a beanbag.
You told me, please don't wear that. And then when I got up off the couch, you said, do you remember what you
Yeah,
said?
you were shedding.
But
right?
that's not what you
Oh,
said.
I
I
don't
did on
remember.
the couch.
I don't remember.
All right, big build up. What did he say?
He said I jizzed all over the couch because there was
Wow,
pink
I
stuff
would
on
never-
there from my dress.
Your dress jizzed. I didn't
That's
say
what you
did.
said. You
Yeah.
said the dress
He
did.
knew what
Sorry.
he said.
I was just trying to punctuate.
Did
the
you come
point.
in? I'm gonna come.
Well,
Ew.
you've got a heart out. You got a heart out, and this went by quickly.
Always do.
Nice, guys.
Empathcoaching.com. Kimberly Lackey,
Thanks,
Timothy,
guys.
thanks for coming back
You're
on.
welcome,
fun.
Kimbo.
What about my sweat equity? Sweat equity. Sweat equity. My sweat equity. My sweat equity.
Sweat equity.
What about my sweat equity?